Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. Okay, run, Nico, run. We're going to talk about that. Also, Big O apologized. Now, there's a lot to talk about this week. We got the Florida Gators coming up at night at Neyland, and I can't wait. That's going to be an exciting game, and I fully expect the Tennessee fan base to be fully fortified.
You fellas been doing a bit of boozing, have you? Sucking back on Grandpa's old cough medicine?
No, oh no, sir.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh, yeah. They're going to be knocking back on Grandpa's cough medicine. They're going to be loud, and we need them to be extremely loud. This is an important game. And before last week, I was feeling great about it. Now I'm just feeling okay to good about it because Graham Mertz is looking really good. And let me tell you something. That guy is completing about 90% of his passes the last couple of games, and he's been very efficient. And I am concerned about him keeping that ball away from us. But this isn't what this video is about. We're going to talk about Nico Iamaleava, the problems that he's been having. Really, it all sort of came to a head against Arkansas on the road. It's extremely loud there. He wasn't able to get in and out of the plays he wanted to. It was always 1st and 15, it seemed like, because the offensive line was constantly false starting, jumping, flinching, doing all those things you do on the road. And that really hurts your run game big time. And when we did complete a nice pass, again, there'd be a lineman 5 yards down the field, and they'd call that, and we'd have a 20-yarder called back. So unfortunately, that's been a real problem. But Nico has got to run. That's just a fact. And here's the thing that is so frustrating to me, and I know why Josh Heupel's been doing this. I get it completely, but things are going to have to change. In his first game in the Citrus Bowl, what did Nico do? He ran for 3 touchdowns, okay? 3 rushing touchdowns and passed for 1. And Nico is a natural runner. He is a dual threat quarterback. He's got a great arm. There's no doubt about that. He can make throws that a lot of people can't make. But he's also very good at running the ball. He's just got a nose for the end zone. We saw that in that ball game against a top 10 defense. You know, it wasn't some run-of-the-mill defense. This was Iowa, which was the one thing Iowa could do well, was stop the rush. And Nico really wore him out. And like I said, scored enough points by himself to win that game. Well, he's played in now 5 ball games this season. And how many rushing TDs he's got?
1.
Yeah, right here it is. He had 1 against North Carolina State, none against Chattanooga, none against Kent State. Who cares? None against Oklahoma, none against Arkansas. And Oklahoma and Arkansas have similar defenses to Iowa. It's pretty clear to me that Josh Heupel's been very careful with him. He's trying to protect him the best he can. And the truth is, you can get hurt in the pocket just like you can out running. As long as he's not trying to bulldozer people and trying to do a Dylan Sampson like a running back would do, you can still get down, but you've got to run the ball in Josh Heupel's offense. It's not effective otherwise. We saw that last year with Joe Milton. When Milton ran the ball, it helped quite a bit. And when Hendon Hooker was playing, my gosh, everything he did worked. That guy was a constant threat to run. He terrorized defenses. They were scared to death to come around the edge because if you do that, if you're a defensive end and you come around the tackle, guess what Hendon Hooker would do? He would cut right into that lane and he's gone. And that's what we need to see Nico doing. That happened multiple times in that game against Arkansas. They had that horrible defensive end who was going around Lance Hurd, going around John Campbell. All Nico had to do was cut right in that lane that he left wide open, and he could have run for 15 yards, gotten down, first down, boom, you're golden. It never happened. I don't recall a single running play hardly this year for him. It's almost like there are no running plays for him. We had many running plays for Hendon Hooker, a bunch. And we finally got Joe Milton running some last year, which was really helpful. So that's pretty obvious what one of the biggest problems are. And the other thing that it'll do, it'll get him in the flow of the game and get his momentum, and it'll get him fired up. And we've seen that with a lot of quarterbacks. That Diego Pavia is great at it. And the other thing is he's a very good – it's not like Nico's not a natural runner. There is no way you're going to run for 3 touchdowns in your first game as a starter and not be a natural runner. And he looked great. He's fast. He's elusive. He moves really well for 6'6". It's really kind of shocking. And he's great at being elusive back there in the pocket. But he's got to start putting the fear in the defense that, hey, you come around the edge, I'm going to fill that spot and I'm gone. And I'm going to make you look like an idiot. And that's what we need him to do. And I'm hoping Josh Heupel, after this loss, will realize you're going to have to take the Kid gloves off and let him be a football player. And look, I'm not talking about him being a bowling ball out there banging into middle linebackers. No, go out there, get your 5 or 10 yards, and then get down. I promise you, if you slide or if you go head first, they're not going to hit you, because if they do, it's 15 yards and they're out of the game. I mean, that's just the way it is. You cannot hit a quarterback, especially if he slides and they even touch him. They're going to be wishing they hadn't. So that's what I'm hoping happens with Nico. That's what needs to happen. If he'll do that, I think we'll get him rolling again like he was in that first ball game. And I would like to see our offensive tackles really lift yourself up a little bit. And, honestly, that was not a good game for them. I thought the interior of the offensive line played pretty well, but I thought the tackles had a poor game. And I thought with them being back healthy, we would see a big difference. And it was, no. So anyway, that's what's going on, what I think we need to do, and what I'm hoping Nico does. And I think he's pretty upset about that loss. He's going to want to run and play much better against Florida. And my thinking on it is, look, if you're not seeing somebody open, it looked like he was very hesitant to throw the ball against the Razorbacks. If somebody's not open at your first or second look, take off. Just take off, get 5 yards, get 7 yards, whatever you can, and don't sit back there and get sacked. I wouldn't let that happen again, because there's going to be running lanes. And once they realize you're going to run, they're going to quit coming around the edge so much. They're going to start keeping people in there to watch you, and then you're going to have some open shots down the field. Right now they're dropping a bunch of people because they're not afraid that Nico's going to run. They're not. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Having watched football for a very long time and having watched Josh Heupel's offense closely for the last, 4 years now, that's what's going to have to happen. A Josh Heupel offense does not perform well without a running quarterback. That's why you go and get a dual threat QB, which is what he did, the number 1 in the country. All right, now let's talk about Omari Thomas. And Omari has apologized for pushing an Arkansas fan during the storming of the field. He says, "I apologize for my actions during the chaotic post-game scene. Even though we got run into multiple times by fans while trying to exit the field, that doesn't condone my actions or define my character," Thomas wrote in the post. "I sincerely apologize. I wish Arkansas and their fans all the best. Big O." You can see where Omari put that on a tweet right here. And here's the video that everybody's been talking about. And you can see what happened here. Right here it is. So he shoved that guy. He obviously got tired of being run into. I am glad that he apologized. This does remind you of I believe it was Jermaine Burton, and I'll show you that. And that was right here. You can see this little girl went right here, and then he smacks her upside the head there. Now, he didn't apologize. As a matter of fact, he said that he was Coach Saban said he was in fear, and that's why he did that. I guess that little 5-foot blonde-haired girl scared him. I think that guy's about 220 pounds, about 6'4". No, he was just frustrated, and it ticked him off. And look, here's the thing. These guys played hard in that game. That was the Alabama game. Our guys played hard in the Arkansas game. That was an agonizing loss, both for Alabama and Tennessee. And it's frustrating when you have somebody get up in your face and they're doing all this kind of crap, running into you, doing all that. The Jermaine Burton thing, that was just, he should not have done that. He should have just apologized instead of coming up with this fear thing. For Omari, I'm really glad he apologized. That's the best way to handle this. Just own up to it and say, yeah, I got frustrated. The guy ran into me. I should have handled it better. I'm sure he was mad as crap because they lost that ball game. He's disappointed. Here comes this punk, runs into you, and he's screaming and yelling, and it's very annoying. I mean, I can't say if I'd been in Omari's shoes, I wouldn't push the guy too. But you can't do that. You just can't. But at least he did apologize. I don't know if there'll be any discipline past that or not. That's up to Heupel. I don't want them to stop allowing people running on the field, though. I think that's part of the game. It's a very exciting part of the game. I know when Tennessee got to rush the field, they took down the goalpost. That was great for our crowd. That was like a cleansing of 15 years of frustration of dealing with Alabama. And Arkansas got to do that with us. Now, I was kind of surprised. I did not expect them to act like that, but I didn't realize that Tennessee's become a pretty darn good program, and a lot of teams consider us to be sort of up there with the Georgias and Alabamas or getting there, a team on the rise, and beating us obviously meant a lot to Arkansas. to the point they took down the goalpost and carried it down, I guess, to the river or whatever. And Vanderbilt did that too. That is super fun for the fan base. It would be nice if they wouldn't run into the players, if they leave the players alone, because you know they're not going to react well to that. But I don't want that taken away. And the SEC did announce Sunday afternoon that Arkansas was fined $250,000 for violating the conference's access to competition area.
$250,000.
Yeah. Second time violator, and $250,000 will be paid by Arkansas to Tennessee, etc. And I'm assuming Vandy would gladly pay $250,000, although I think this is their first time because they've never beaten a top 5 team, much less Alabama. But they may just get a slap on the wrist since I think it's their first time, which I'm fine with. You know, I promise you Vandy wouldn't mind paying $250,000 to beat Alabama. I mean, their fan base, they needed that, man. You cannot take that away from the fans. Anyway, that's what's going on right now with Nico and Omari. And again, I am glad he apologized. That's just man up. Just man up. Say, man, I screwed up. I'm sorry. I got no issue with that. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know we continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button right there. I'd appreciate it. Won't cost you a dime. It'll help you get my videos. And right over here's the most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.